Right now, like,
And I'm gonna do that here.
do work.
Like, do 4, not 0.
We already have that, right?
Okay, so you want to do it once.
Right, so all this, all the work he does is repeat code for a certain amount. So if you look at that and say, this repeats code, and then as I want to, then you can reuse it if you want. Maybe you need to repeat code a different amount of times, you have to.
Okay.
Or that. The different, that makes sense.
Kind of.
Right?
I don't think like ready or
But you can, I mean, it's, the reason I told you to do that is not what you have. The reason to do it is making it easier. You could just put this part inside of these same. Yeah, right. How would you, without, with only adding 3 characters, how would you get them to learn just each individual?
Yeah.
So, one is this, what we do.
Would you like it to print for this?
Okay, but specifically, just this part, what is it doing? It looks like we got your data structure. What does that mean? That's a very vague statement.
It's rather than the train.
Just this part. Right here. Is that what you're saying? Just this part?
Yes.
So, okay, so that's okay. This part, so this is an element. And this square brackets is telling you want to access a member of it. It doesn't have to be a string, anything. You're just saying it's a list. Like, you say that like 20 items. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry, I thought you wanted to say something. Oh, yeah, no, all right, yeah, so this is like having a list, in your case, list, right? So, imagine a piece of paper, and it's something that's right things written down on the list. So, and when you put any things have to be, you put that number, it's like looking at the list and going, so go ahead and read, okay, what's the third item on the list? This is whatever it is, doesn't matter. It could be a whole other list that you want it to be. All this is doing, the reason we call I here, in this case, I happens to be a number. And it happens to be a number that will never be larger than the length of the list. Because right here we said, don't be larger than the list. That is the only reason this works. I could also put it. One here, and will always print the second item. Get over a 3 days.
Oh.
It,
How in the little things?
Yeah.
but that's all you're doing. So all all you're trying to do is get things out of it. And because it repeats, and the I goes up by one each time, it will always be the next thing on the list. Does that make sense? It's just counting. That's all this is doing. It's looping over. It's just running the circle on the
This needs to say how.
yes, but that's not a correct. It has to go. In fact, you shouldn't really have space in between here and here. Those should always be right up next to each other. So it should look like this. How do you see that the relation between those two things? So like if you see how you have a parenthesis, you could put those brackets out because the parentheses and stuff, it would just say, oh, I'm done with what I need to do. And those different these brackets, so where would you put the brackets to get started?
Right, we have one in line that says that.
You don't have to, you could if you wanted to, but you don't have to. Because if you get rid of the flag, see how you have mine. After that,
That's me, I'm just checking in on whoever on.
Okay, cool.
so if everything inside there, just look at brand spray. How do I get it? First element out of the brand. How do I get the first item on the list?
Your name's already one.
Oh, there you go. One going in the second item, right? So it's
Okay.
zero. Or you start at zero, okay? Those engines should be okay. Should. Right.
So,
Now,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Remembering.
Like,
When you say hot.
I think
You always need to have brackets to get something out of an array. That should be brackets. How it works. You'll put the name of the array, brackets, and then inside brackets, you'll put whatever number it is that you want to get. In this case, I know what the name is, you know where it's founded. First, we're gonna use it, or that age.
So on and so forth.
So it's a whole bunch of question.
this I here, so you don't gonna do flat, the cones over. But you don't do two, you only do.
I have one.
So, you can.
Absolutely. But you don't actually. You could have just said that. It's never an object or bracket. It won't be each of it. But what is the difference? Other than the variable, forget about the variable. What is the difference between here and this variable? But if I want to really, if I want to be grams for each one, that's what syntax would change. You can use.
Yes, I think she, I think
I think you're right.
Okay, we can
So,
change to what,
forget about that, and you forget that, here's my brain, and grammar. What is different about this world? Do those the same now? They don't. One's off. those questions, what don't you understand about what you just written? It's important for you to organize out. I know that seems weird, but it is important for you to figure out how to say what the.
Yeah, I think I'm just not used to it. I guess like, I'm thinking about my head around like, the word.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a new language. It's a new language.
so for me, this part just accept that it's a thing that you will just have to write and memorize. And
Yeah, it's gonna be magic to you right now, but sometimes you can just say, this is the magic word. We're gonna be doing that a lot later on when we start looking at other tools to get actual software built.
But this part, this is like a fundamental concept, and you need to train yourself. This is just, anytime you see like looks like this, pretty much in a free programming language, is how to get it. I don't know. But I can be a work or forget, I'm moved, I want to know first. That's all you're doing. So any, you want to get something from
Yeah.
That's her. And then. And then. How?
So all this is her, and create then is creating.
Okay,
Yeah, the
okay,
name
I got it, I got it.
name of it is a little weird. I should call it, and we should call it events.
Raven's family.
Raven individual elements. Because it's just one single thing, you know, kind of runs, not all, right? Oh.
I don't know.
All right, we'll give everyone about 5 more minutes. How does everyone feel with the exercise? Do they feel comfortable? It's been kind of a lot in a little bit of time.
The biggest thing, you can just remember, modify everything.
So that's where Visual Studio Code can come in handy. It sort of knows, right? So when you have Visual Studio Code up and you're writing, it'll suggest hints for you. Like a lot of what I learned programming starting out, I learned by typing stuff and just seeing what was available to me.
This, and then go here. You put it, yeah, like it's different, so I need to know which one.
So brackets, the square from. You're trying to correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't been driving for a while. The brackets are only used for arrays. No,
They're used for objects as well.
brackets are.
You can index into an object.
Okay,
With-
I mean, to declare them.
Yes, for literals, right? So you can do this on line 7. You see where I'm doing my family open brackets. You can do this on other things, but you will only ever create a variable that's an array with these brackets.
So anything you see equals and then bracket something, that is always a. No matter where else.
Yeah, it's also happens.
Yeah, it's a very common. Yeah, so free code camp, I don't know how far y'all are in it, but they don't get into JavaScript really heavily until like the other certification, the JavaScript data structures and algorithms is what it's called. But we're doing this because I mean most front end development happens in JavaScript nowadays, for better or worse. Okay, so here's what I did. Here's the answer, as it were. So you'll see I've got me on line 1. My name is Jonathan. I was born in 1992. My favorite food is a cheeseburger. It's a great meal. There's my wife. Her name is Nicole. She was born in 1994. Her favorite food is baklava. She loves the honey pastry dessert. My son Gabriel was born in 2021 last year. His favorite food is watermelon. So I put all those into a my family array, right? So me, my wife, my son. I can even add other son. That's Nathaniel. He was also born in 2021. And his favorite food is also watermelon. So now, if I go back to here and reload, you'll see, hi, my name is Jonathan. I was born in 1992, and I love to eat cheeseburger. Hi, my name is Nicole. I was born in 1994. I love to eat baklava. Hi, my name is Gabriel. I was born in 2021, and I love to eat watermelon. Got to add Nathaniel to my family array. Go back and refresh. You should see Nathaniel, born in 2021, love to eat watermelon. Okay, so that's an example of a structured array. If you know ahead of time what elements are going to be where, that works. Like say, for example, if I come over here, I know that the names are in the first element, the birth years are in the second element, and the watermelons in the favorite food is in the last element. But if I were to move things around in this array, for whatever reason, you know, that's a feature of my other son, Nathaniel. He's got longer hair than my son, Gabriel. So let's see. If we refresh that, now it says, hi, my name is Nathaniel, and I was born in watermelon, and I love to eat 2021. Some unintentional humor there. But you can see how that wouldn't work on a website. Like you're trying to send back the things, the types of rice that you can accept in the food pantry. You don't want like, you know, a database configuration string getting put where a type of rice should be. So what we can do to help with that is there's these things called objects that are like arrays, but they allow you to assign names to elements instead of numbers. So let me do a quick refactoring of this. I'll start with this element here. And we're kind of running short on time. It's 9:32:11, right?
11:30.
Oh, 11:30?
I'm gonna say, you guys need to take 4 minutes.
No. Okay, so that's my name, right? So let me add a. Okay, let's step back. Okay, so objects are like an array. The difference is you use squiggle brackets instead of square brackets. Okay. Then you assign names to.
Real quick, before we move ahead, how did you want to use
Member?
Yeah, like, member 0 or 1. Is member just like the word?
So member.
Oh, you're talking about in here, right? How I've got the squiggle braces with the $sign.
Yeah, with this whole like 8, 9.
Yeah, so what I did in this loop is each time we loop, I assign the first element, or I assign the element we're indexing into to the variable member. That way I say, okay, I'm looking at my family. I want to see what each member likes to eat, what their birth year is, and what their name is. So I set the variable member to the value of the indexed element, right? So as we're looping, we're going to go me, my wife, my son, my other son, right? So first one is me. That's a member of my family. I'm a member of my family. So I just called it member to be.
But you could do a right click and rename it.
Yeah, so I could hit F2 and call this banana. That wouldn't make sense, but I can call it whatever I want. So to make sense, so I can read it,
Yeah.
I say, okay, this is a family member. So I'm getting a family member out of my family array.
So all you did was named the variable something that makes sense, but it could be named anything.
Right.
And then by putting my family I, you
What-
can't determine who's going to be pulled first, right?
Well, I can, because what I'm doing is I'm counting. This is basically counting to 4. There are 4 elements in the array. This is going to go 4 times. This code is going to be executed 4 times. That's what this piece allows you to do. And I'm doing this more complex one first because this is a pretty basic programming. Like, if you're going to be a programmer, you need to be able to write a basic for loop. There's a section down here that I'm not going to show you yet that allows you to do it much easier than what I'm doing. But this is basically you're gonna go over every element in the array. That's what this I less than my family length means. So you're gonna say, okay, I want to go over, and this is important because you may not know how long this is when you're writing your code. You may get this array, my family, from a database or backend service or something, and JavaScript knows how long it is. You don't, so you can't necessarily. You can't necessarily write 4, right? So this will execute the same thing, and it'll return the same result, right? So Nathaniel still was born in watermelon and loves to eat 2021. So we went over every member in my family when I just said, okay, as long as we're going over it 4 times, we're good. But if I add another element here, we're going to miss that other element. So that's why you get the length in this condition, right? So this condition in the middle here basically says when this is true, this expression, I is less than my family.length is true, you're going to stop execution. Otherwise, you're going to continue until it's true. So let me show you an example of an infinite loop. Infinite loops are bad. You can't do anything while your CPU is executing an infinite loop. Yeah, that's the other thing. So in this case, we can decrement and we're never going to get to 1 because we're just going backwards on the number line, right? So you got a 0 on the number line, you can go negative, you can go positive. Now I'm going backwards on the number line. This is never going to finish. We're never going to wrap around. That's not how numbers work. You can just go infinitely negative. So this will never finish. What you'll have to do to make it finish is add a plus plus, and then it'll just execute 1 time. If you want it to do like 5 times, you do 5 here. If you want it to do 6 times, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
And I remember more, the constant number.
Mhm.
It doesn't let me
It doesn't let you do what?
add this.
It's letting you do that. It's not, it's just telling you you're not using it.
Oh, I thought that was the name.
No, it's just letting you know, hey, you've made this variable, but you're never using it. Are you sure you want it? It's not good.
So if you just do console.log member, right? Then that'll satisfy the.
So these have to be right here. These are applications and you need them to be backticks
Oh,
here.
Yeah, so backticks allow you to do that special syntax I've got here. This is called string interpolation. It basically allows you to pass in variables and get their values.
That's what it was.
I was like, what's going on? Why can't
So another way you can do this is instead of that syntax, you can just put a bunch of strings together.
There you go. That was the only issue. This is a terrible way. We shouldn't do this.
Okay, so don't do that. I'm gonna undo that. There we go. I'm gonna undo that. Okay. All right, so I've copied the code and Nathaniel is still eating is still born in watermelon and eating 2021. We need to fix that. So to do that, we're going to convert these arrays to objects. Objects allow you to access values by name instead of by index. So to start, you're going to create a new variable, right? So we'll comment this out. We're going to say const me equals, you're going to open curly brackets. And then you're going to type name colon and put your name. Okay? So what that does is says, okay, now when you go and access this object, to get the name, you say const my name equals me dot name. If you want to have a string with spaces in it, you can say, you can also have a string with spaces in it. You can say my favorite food is cheeseburger. It's not recommended to do it that way, so I'm going to change it back. But to get this value, you can't just write my favorite food equals me dot my favorite food. Whoops. My favorite. Yeah, it did what I wanted to do. So you'll see this is going to throw an error because there are spaces between it, and JavaScript is like, it's not just string and there are spaces. I don't understand this. Help. So to access it, what you do is you do a similar thing like you do with arrays. You open up an open array, you put in the string you want to access, and then you close the array. So now let me comment out this code here, and I'll just do a console.log. My name is my name, and I eat all of my favorite food. Okay, so now if I go Actually, I need to comment out a bunch of code actually. Because I have these. Don't look at these. Don't look at these yet. It's for later. Okay. So hi, my name is Jonathan and I eat all the cheeseburger. That doesn't make grammatical sense, but that's okay. I eat all the cheeseburger. I'm going to have birth year being 1992. So this saves us from having to structure arrays in a certain way to know where things are. You can just access it by name, right? But it's similar to an array in that you can put anything in there and access it by name. So if I had, let me format this, right? So now they're on, now each property is on its own line. But if I wanted this to be my favorite foods, I could have this be an array. Now I can put information about myself, including lists of things I like, or lists of things I'm allergic to, or lists of rice that I can give to a food pantry, can all live in the same object, right? And this is where you can start to see like, okay, this is kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, right? So if I have a spreadsheet with a column named name, a column named birth year, and a column named my favorite food, you can just fill in the items as you go, right? So you got like, okay, I'm gonna put my family in here. I'm making a spreadsheet of my family, all their favorite foods and what year they were born. You can say, okay, name Jonathan, name Nicole, name Gabriel, name Nathaniel, and so on and so forth. And then you can have a list of their favorite foods, right? And that can go in, you can put the list of favorite foods on a separate sheet. You can have, you know, here's Nathaniel's favorite foods, here's Nicole's favorite foods, and so on and so forth. So that's definitely a way you can basically just create spreadsheets in JavaScript. And this right here, you're going to see this a lot, especially with APIs. This is JavaScript object notation. So this allows you to create objects, and you can just kind of throw data in here and name it whatever you like, and then access the data by just doing the dot name, dot birth year, dot whatever, or if it's a string key, right? So key and value are very important terms. So this right here, this name is a key, and this is a value. This Jonathan is the value of the key name. So all this basically is a key value data store, which means you give the store a key, it'll return you a value. So what happens if I try to access a key that doesn't exist, right? So const my favorite video game, let's say, equals me dot best video game. Let's say I try to access that here. I love to play my favorite video game, or yeah, my favorite video game. That's what it's called. If we reload this, what do you think it's going to show? Right. So what do you think it's going to show since I haven't told the computer what my favorite video game is? Yeah, you got it right. Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I eat all the undefined. I love to play undefined. Oh. And why did my favorite food all of a sudden go to undefined? On line 15, I made a change from my favorite food, singular, to my favorite foods. So to access it again, I'll need to update the key here. Okay. My name is Jonathan. I eat all the cheeseburger. I love to play undefined. We're back in business.
If you go back to where you retrieve it, I think that's the part. You Okay, so I see like you defining, our favorite food equals and favorite video game equals. Like if you were gonna have more things, would you add it around line 14, 15, and 16?
Correct. Yes, this is a comma separated. So each property is separated by a comma. So these are called properties. They're called properties. They're called key value pairs. They're called lots of things. But basically, you just add a new property here. So let's say best video game. Okay, it's Super Mario World. Right, so you would add it there. And you don't even need these variables to get the value. I just did that for readability. You can say me.name in here. You can say me.my favorite or me.me. My favorite.
Add the video games on the 12. The video game, you add it there or there?
Just inside the object.
Yeah, so this is the bounds of the object, right? So you can put any key value, right? So this is the key on the left-hand side of the colon, and then this is the value on the right-hand side of the colon. So it's a little different to variables. The colons are what separate names and values. But it's a similar thing. It's like a collection of variables that are named, similar to an array as a collection of variables. But they're not variables per se, they're just values.
And then basically, it's like the word me, is that interchangeable with how, right? Okay.
You can name this Jonathan, you can name this Raven, you can name this Bezork, you can name it Robin Williams, you can name it Elevator. It's
So then after you have the names,
Mhm.
every kind of like read it, that's line 19.
Mhm. Yep.
So, it does get less steps since you have the comma after one time.
What?
Oh, sorry.
So that's just human. That's anything that's in the backticks.
Yeah.
That's highlighted green is just human text. It's just for English, but it could be any language. It doesn't matter what you write in there. But you see how the other things are highlighted in different colors?
Yeah.
The moment you hit that dollar sign, and you have the brackets, everything between there, it says, oh, this should be JavaScript. I should access this if it's JavaScript and not human readable text.
It's like taking a break and saying, oh, I need to pay attention to this. So this dollar bracket says, okay, JavaScript, everything after this bracket and until the next bracket, you need to pay attention to and parse for me and figure out how to make it work. So right now, I use this whoa buddy. JavaScript is gonna be like, nah, man, I don't know what whoa buddy is. But you'll see, it's kind of human readable because it's like, now, whoa buddy. But it's also like, that's JavaScript supposed to be parsing that. So unless I define whoa buddy, it's gonna say undefined. Or it's gonna throw an error saying you can't use a symbol that hasn't been defined. So this is a concept called symbols. Symbols are variable names, basically, right? So variable names and symbols, you can kind of use the terms interchangeably, but a symbol is what JavaScript uses to determine where things are in the computer, right? Okay, let me get back to my notes. See how we're progressing. I kind of combined two of the exercises. Okay, so now what I want you to do is transform your array of objects. And you can do that by commenting out and copying the code and just changing it over. But basically, you're going to transform your array of arrays into an array of objects. So each member of your family's array is going to be changed into an object, and you're going to assign keys to each of the values, right? So in the example we had before, I've got me, my wife, my son, my other son, and in each position I had name first, birth year second, favorite food last. So instead of positions, you're just going to say, okay, name, colon, Jonathan, name, colon, Nicole, name, colon, Gabriel, name, colon, Nathaniel, and so on. So this part will stay the same. This array of my family, or whatever you've named your array, will stay the same. And this loop will also stay the same. But instead of accessing it like an array, you're going to do family member.name, family member.favorite food.
Except for you should probably not. This.
Yes, don't do what I did here. I just need you to be aware it exists because sometimes backend engineers will send you data like this. You should get mad at them when they do. But it's not unheard of to have property names like this. Generally, you should just do it like this. It should say like, okay, actually, can I rename this symbol? Does it understand? Yes, it does. I can do favorite foods.
The first little.
Yeah, it's still in quotes. So now that's syntactically correct JavaScript. And this will still work because you can do bracket index notation on a name as well. But generally, if it's parsable by JavaScript, you should just do the dot notation, so dot name, and that'll get you the value of the property.
If you had a comment, it just.
Oh, here?
The comment, add a comment.
This is one way you can technically add a comment, but it's not, you shouldn't do this. To add a comment, is that what you're asking? How do I add a comment?
Yeah.
To add a comment, you do 2 forward slashes for one line. So this is a one-line comment. This is ignored by JavaScript. Okay, and then to do a multi-line comment, you do /* and then */. This spans many lines. 1, 2, potato, haha. Ha
Alright, thank you.
ha.
Just make sure I did it right, 'cause I saw that yours was a different color. My God, it's green.
Yeah, you're like completely different colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see what theme do I use?
I wasn't sure if it did.
Color theme. I use Darkula. Good name. Easy on the eyes. When you're staring at a screen for 8 hours, you tend to prioritize things that are easy on the eyes.
I apologize for the beating. I don't know what's
I've been noticing it all this time. I haven't noticed you just pointed it out. Okay.
Left the door open, but as soon as I closed it.
Jonathan, I can notice that.
Now it's not.
Yes. Here's a power bank over here.
So it's just great. Right in. Right then, so go and be a jerk.
Okay, why did you put the brackets around cheeseburger?
Because it's an array.
Right, so you see how it says favorite foods? I have more than one favorite food. I like pizza, I like hot dogs, I like hamburgers, I like goulash, I like mac and cheese.
So he has a list there, but a list can be anything, including just one thing.
Okay.
And so he has a list right now of just one thing. The brackets are just denoting, hey, this is a list, it could be bigger, it's not, but it could be.
So what we can do if we index into if we take the favorite foods object and we see that it's an array, we can do something with it, right? We can like if I have multiple favorite foods, I can say instead of my favorite food is in a string, I can say my favorite foods are, and then I can collect all of the items in that array with commas between them, and I can say like, okay, let's list out all the things I love to eat. You know, for Nathaniel, it'd be like blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. He loves all kinds of fruit and bread. He loves bread. Bread is great. And their best video game would probably be Super Smash Brothers because that's the only thing they've ever really played. They were like 3 months old and like stuck controllers in front of them. Likely. They weren't very good at it.
You notice the weird stuff?
Who do you got? I didn't know you told me that you counted.
Good question. They have to repeat every single thing. Or just, this part that you showed me right now, for every single person.
Yeah, you'll have to create name, favorite foods, birth year, best video game.
So, you know, you did it, yeah.
Check.
So, that's the good one. So, we have to do all of those for this.
The second question.
Yes,
Okay, at least for one thing. Okay, thank you. You're very good at blog.
So in here, I think you can't print the terminal in Visual Studio.
If you have Node, you can. Yep.
So I actually don't know on top line that this has to get a new JavaScript issue down the header display on the page.
That's why we use React and jQuery and
Oh, yeah.
Vue and.
Which is all I ever use, I've never done vanilla.
Okay, let me see what I can do. I know that's been a question. I know Tara asked. Add content to a page via JavaScript.
Copy this.
Let me play around a little bit in the console. I think I have an idea. Let's see. Document dot body dot append p title close p. Hey, look, that's not at all how that should look. That should not be. Also, that's not appending, that's prepending.
That's why I tried to get those something out here. I didn't know it was.
Yeah, it's not a function. You just set the property.
Oh, it's just equal.
There. And now you can change the content of your HTML.
Yeah, but the question was, just because I forget the syntax, I guess you just look it up, but how do I actually attach from a brand new file, how do I attach JavaScript to my HTML from a separate file? I know there's like an include.
Oh, yeah. You do a script.
100%.
You do a script source. So in your index HTML, at the bottom of your body tag, you generally want to put things at the bottom of your body because otherwise, if it takes a long time to run your JavaScript, it's going to slow the page down from loading. So you usually put it at the bottom. And then what you can do is do script, and then you have an attribute called src, and then you put in the file name. That's how you load JavaScript into your web page from another file.
See the line of the, you can just write that word for and you can keep that HTML. And except for in between the patients with this app.js, you can do lots.
Yeah, I cannot open this book, I have to open that.
And I just the banner for the arbitrary section. There. And that show. And the brown here. You just right click to open this environment. The HTML file.
No, you can open it in File Explorer and then double click, and there's probably an extension that allows you to open a browser.
So open it in here.
So yeah, here's a 5.9 million downloads. Wonder why it's so poorly rated.
Give it and put it on. Or a control. And reveal here. And then do the. And yeah, that's. was.
Okay. Here,
Yeah, that's true.
it's, now going from there, we're gonna have to work from there.
You plan. Index is just where everything starts, so that you need to know about why that you're using. And make sure to stay against not stay. And then you go back to that console, or web page, you'll have to reload the.
Spillage.
So the video section that we did online about it.
Yes.
That's a place that. The minutes per session we did, I would go back and watch that video. Second one, or both of them up. Is the private session we did. Or live.
Mhm.
You should sit there and type out that nasty painstakingly, line by line.
Just went to a generic.
No.
Oh. If I think moving their boy. He's already. Stones out of the thing oven. It's gonna spring out there.
Just get them to make out.
I didn't pick up it. More final ones.
And lands on the kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Cool.
All right, as a special treat for the end of the class today. So you remember that for loop that was super complicated? These both do the exact same thing. I made you do the more confusing way because that's the way that is expected for you to know when someone's interviewing you, they're going to be like, write a for loop. What they mean when they say a for loop is not necessarily this, but this will accomplish the same thing. You loop over an array. But if they say create a for loop to do something n number of times, where n is a number we decide at some point, then you want to do a for loop like we did before. But now we can change out the member indexes with the property names. So born and birth year. And I love to eat favorite food. Okay, so if I copy this line here, I think I might just go to Vim at some point because they have this command that lets you just delete a line. It's so good.
You don't even need an X edit, just use them.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to comment out this loop because I don't want it running twice. I'm going to go back to my page and hit reload. Okay, so now we can see, hi, my name is Jonathan, born in 1992, love to eat cheeseburger. 1994, love to eat baklava. Gabriel was born in 2021. He loves to eat watermelon. Daniel was born in 2021, and he loves to eat watermelon as well. So what this is doing is shortcutting the for loop. This is saying, all right, we're just going to go ahead and create the member variable because we don't care about indexes if we're looping over an array because JavaScript just knows how long it is. So we're just going to say, okay, for each member in the my family array or of the my family array, just go ahead and log them out. Just get their properties. We're good. But if we do care about the index, we can use the for in loop. So now this is looking a little familiar. Let me pull up that other for loop. I don't have it anymore. Not last indexed of, I want dot length. Okay. So you'll see the inside of the body is exactly the same. Well, not exactly the same. Now it's exactly the same. These do the same exact thing. There's a difference with this though, because I believe you can put parentheses around this and get the value as well. So you can go ahead and shortcut this and say member. Maybe like this. Yes, yes. If I refresh the page, this should work, right? We're gonna go to Google and look at for in JavaScript. MDN, so helpful. So this is cool too, because you can use it for objects as well. So an array and an object are kind of the same in some ways. So think of it this way. For in is an index loop. For of is officially the variable you want. That's not helpful, but the for of loop will get you the value of the array or object. And the for in will get you the key or index of the array or object. You can also just continue using a regular for loop. No problem there. I'm going to put this back, and then we'll enjoy the rest of our Saturday. And now I can see all my family members, what they like to eat when they were born. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Yeah. Appreciate you all online for coming. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. As always, you can use Slack to ask any questions throughout the week. That's how you join the chat.
Yeah, I clicked on it, but and I saw that there was text there, but it was I was like, no, I need to focus on what I'm doing right now.